Ay. Otra vez. Come here. Let me say something. I remember Tampa, the way she used to be, the places we would run to, the faces we would see. Yes, I remember Tampa, those precious memories, a city rising on the move, a simple yet progressive groove. I remember Tampa, and she remembers me. Yeah. She remembers me.
Welcome to the Tampa Native Show. Stay tuned now for the fastest 60 minutes in cable broadcast history. Live from the studios at TVCN, the home of the Tampa Native Show. Join your host, Mario Nunez, as he celebrates growing up in Tampa. From Shock Armstrong to Shakey's Pizza, from Braddock Street to Buffalo Avenue. Get ready to call in and tell us your stories, because sharing your memories has never been this much fun. And now, your host, Mario Nunez.
She remembers me.
Hi, Tampa Native Show fans. Welcome back to this, your 7 o'clock edition, Thursday night Tampa Native Show. Where else would you be on Thursday night but sitting here watching the Tampa Native Show with me, your host, Mario Nunez. Tonight, joining us in studio, the wonderful, the irreplaceable, irrepressible, irascible, and incorrigible Rodney Justo and Robin Sibucal. They'll be joining us in just a couple of minutes. I want to remind everybody that after this show tonight, you can watch last week's show, which received rave reviews from all over, all parts. We had Marty Fleischman in studio with us after 41 years working in professional highlight. You can imagine he had contacts pretty much all over the United States and throughout Spain as well. We heard from Marty's friends. They really were excited to see him on the Tampa Native Show. We had a wonderful time chatting it up. We're going to bring Marty back. You're going to be able to see him after this show. If you missed it last week, just flip over to channel 36 on Verizon and channel 639 on 638, forgive me, 638 on Bright House to watch last week's show. But we're going to bring him back in November as well. Spoiler alert, we may have some live studio audience members joining him.
Right.
We're going to try to get some highlight players to come in and visit with us as well. So that's happening in November, and you can watch that show immediately following this one. Let me just say at the top of the show, I want to mention that we lost a member of the family this week. The 15-Minute Girl's mom. She boarded that train, man. She went ahead and after 93 years here with us, decided that, you know, it was finally time to move on to the next phase. And we just want to say that we're going to miss that dear, sweet Georgia peach of a lady. You know, she gave us the 15-Minute Girl, which ultimately gave us our two sons. And Nana, we're going to miss you. So, baby girl, here we go. It's a whole new day, you know. When you lose a loved one, when you lose a parent, especially as adults like we are now, it's a game changer. So, send one up.
What would happen if you were a 15-minute man? That wouldn't be very good.
It wouldn't be very good. Look at The Rock. He's not even on camera, and he's talking it up. All right. That said, I've got some more notes here, but we can get to those. We're going to have plenty of time to do that. Let me go ahead and bring up the three-shot. You already heard Rodney Justo to my right, Robin Sibucal here to my left. There's our three-shot guys. We welcome these gentlemen back. They've both been on the show twice before. Robin, you came on with us once with Gene Morris.
Gene Morris from WFLA.
Thank you. And then you came on once before, told half of your story because we only got through half of the pictures that we had that night.
I have a whole camera full here. We can go all night long if you want.
And we're so pleased to have you back in studio with us. We've also got Rodney Justo with us. Rodney, you've been with us once to tell your story, the early story of Rodney here at Tampa with the Candyman and then with Roy Orbison and all those wonderful years, Cuckoo Cuckoo. And then you came on to do the Cuba show.
Right.
Remember, we had Don Barco here that night, Joe Howden, Al Fox in the studio.
My hero, Al Fox. It was a great night.
He's done some tremendous work of late. And he's still taking the slings and arrows, man. I mean, he's still in a lot of people's crosshairs, even though, guys, and since we're just going to talk about everything tonight, we'll start a little bit, we'll ease into the Cuba topic. I thought that score was settled. I thought last December 17th, when President Obama came out and he said what he said about normalizing relationships with Cuba, that score was settled. Give me some input, Rod.
Get over it.
There you go.
It's a new day. Let's move onward. Stop
Moot
it.
point?
Yeah, stop it.
Moot point.
I've been twice.
Yeah.
It's great. People are friendly. They love the United States, which I don't understand. So we're trying to starve them out. They're like the guys in Waco. Let's starve them out. 55 years, they're still eating.
Right.
So.
And they may not be eating as well as they would like, or some people would consider, or some people.
Let me tell you what, they enjoy themselves.
There you go.
They just are fun. They love us, and they're just wonderful people. It's just great to be there. If you haven't been and you get a chance to go, you have to go.
I tell everybody, it doesn't matter what it is. Find out for yourself.
There's what's the word I'm looking for, Rob? It's an esprit de
Handsome?
corps.
Was that
Numenocha microscopic silicoconiosis.
Esprit. You see, I shouldn't ask those kinds of loaded questions because you're going to get those kinds. Esprit de corps. In other words, even in spite of all of it, blockade, stockade, whatever we've tried to do and done, they're still the most gracious people in this hemisphere. And they figure out a way to get it done. There's always a workaround there. If you've seen the TV show, and I know you guys have Cuban Chrome, it's an amazing show, talking about the resilience of these people when it comes especially to auto mechanics.
It is cute. Very
It's a good
cute.
show,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Well done. It's well done. So I'm with you guys.
Listen, how can you say, you can maybe like a regime, but they're people.
Right.
It's the people. It's like saying I don't like America. First of all, it's a piece of land.
Right.
You may like the regime, but we're all people. Go around the world, we're all the same. And I've been everywhere.
I know you have. I know you
it's-
have.
but-
I traveled a little bit too.
Including
Same
East Tampa.
area.
He's been to East Tampa a few times.
Once.
And he didn't like it. I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
He didn't care for it. He didn't go back.
I tell you one thing, I feel for Robin. I mean, I grew up in North Tampa, and I went there. I was like the only Latin in the neighborhood, and I had my share of abuse.
Right.
I could imagine what it's like being a Spanish Filipino in East Tampa, 6 Mile Creek-ish. Is that where you were?
6 Mile Creek.
Yo, no thanks.
That was it. There was, like in Ybor City, how many barbers did you have there? How many do you think you had back when you were a kid?
Barbers?
Barbers in
I
Ybor
thought
City.
everybody was a barber.
There you go.
Right?
Everybody had a Theo that was a barber.
Yeah.
In East Tampa, we had Larry the barber.
Larry.
That was it. We had Larry the barber. He cut everybody's hair. Right next to the cattle auction.
We had Joe the barber on 26th Avenue.
So if you went to get your haircuts, suffice it to say, sometimes that super bubble at the end of the haircut might smell a little like what, hay or
Absolutely.
or cattle
You could-
feed.
you could
or,
hear
know
the
what
cattle
I mean?
around
If that
was-
was always in the air.
Joe was very sophisticated. He put the club man on you. He
Nice.
put
Nice.
the little
Top-
brush on
top-
the back
top.
with the
A little
powder.
paper, a little
Yeah,
paper.
right.
And that club man still plays.
Oh, no,
I'm going
yes.
to tell you, the
Right.
club man still plays.
I'm sure it's still out there.
We had, and it is, and the old timey barber shops with the barber pole, and they still, not the styling shops now, but the barber shops where they're still doing the trimmer cut and the razors. They still, is it Pinaud? I believe Pinaud, P-I-N-A-U-D. It's a French.
Pinot, please.
Yeah, Pinot.
I ate one of those yesterday.
Yes, and it was delicious.
It was great.
It's on the.
I love when the Mexicans hit.
Oh, yeah. That's
Went
what
down.
You gotta be careful.
This is the good news here. The good news is Becky's behind the magic glass, as we like to say. She's in the director's booth. But every once in a while, we'll get to her funny bone, and we can hear her laughing through the glass. It's amazing. Hey, we're going to take your calls in a little bit. We just want to kind of get you ready for that. When we call for that, when we make that call for you to give us a call. How many times did I say call right there, Rod?
What are you saying?
About 3 times. We're going to be giving away tonight, and you're going to want to get in on this, guys. I'm telling you right now, you're going to want to get in on this. All right, look at this. One of our sponsors.
Ah,
Goody
goody,
Burgers.
goody, goody.
Okay.
redundant.
Goody. So, yep, we're going to be giving that away tonight. You know the drill. Call in, give us your comment, your question, make it brief, because tonight we're going to take a lot of calls. Give us your Lucky Bolita number before you get off the air, and away we go. When we make that call for your calls, not yet. Sit tight. All right, Tampa stuff, music stuff, East Tampa stuff, North Tampa stuff, roller skating. Most recently, there was an article that you were quoted in that I got a quote in as well.
Yes.
Paul Guzzo.
He did a great job.
Pictures that surfaced from a roller skating rink, erstwhile roller skating rink that was out at 6 Mile Creek. 1972, 73.
I think you were there many times, weren't you?
Oh, I was big at 6 Mile Creek.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something. I saw the pictures, and they just looked like everybody was covered with the patina of sweat. It looked like these pictures must have been taken sometime in August, and it was like an unair-conditioned roller skating rink.
No, that's East Tampa. That could have been February.
Okay, all right. Well,
Let me tell you,
tell us about that.
once you cross 50th Street going east, that becomes 6 Mile Creek.
Okay.
And everyone that lived there affectionately calls himself Creekers. Creekers.
I love that.
And Sweetheart Skating Week was wonderful. First of all, the people that owned the Cesarios, it was Ben Cesaro that owned it. They were just wonderful people. They took care of the kids there. It was the center of the universe. It was the center of the universe. It was the only place to go. And what would happen is the parents would drop off all the kids, so they'd see each other. It'd be like a social thing.
Sure.
Picking them up, dropping them off, and the kids were there. But that was it. That's all there was. Where the Hard Rock is now was a place called Pick and Pack. It was a department store, and they would have twist contests there. I think it was on Tuesday night.
Wow.
And you could, there'd be a big circle. They'd play the music on a phonograph. That was their big sound system. And everybody get out and twist, and they'd give away records and stuff.
Wasn't it like a kind of farmer's market and Zares all put together one place, that in a flea market?
Later
everything
on,
put together
later
one
on,
place?
yes.
Yeah, right.
Later on. But they early on, they used to have Ernie Lee would pull a flatbed truck up out there. They'd put a floodlight out for youth that remember this, and him and Kay and Herb, was that who it was? Her husband that played the upright bass? They'd play outside there. You'd sit on the hood of your car, and that was East Tampa, man. It was like,
Ernie Lee.
You thought you were at Shea Stadium.
Because it was good for you.
ya.
I'll tell you. Because if you didn't grow up here in Tampa, you might not know who Ernie Lee was.
That's right.
But
he
he
was
was an
great.
institution. He was, and he was our morning guy. He was the go-to guy in the morning when your mom was making breakfast and you were getting ready to go to school. Chances are you had Channel 13 on.
Florida State Fair. He was
Big
always
13.
at the fair.
Florida State Fair. He was the headliner.
Yep.
He was the headliner. Ernie Lee was the headliner. You think of Flatt and Scruggs today. You think of the Merle Haggards of Grand Ole Opry. That was our version of the Grand Ole
ready?
Opry.
Put on the coffee pot, Jeannie. I'm
coming home.
Just Give Me Dixie, where folks are smiling.
That's right.
I remember I sang on that TV show with the Mystics when I was a kid. And, it started like at 7 in the morning.
Very early.
I can't sing in the morning, so we just stayed up all night. There's no chance we'd be able to sing in the morning, so we'll just stay up all night and we'll do it. Then we go to bed. Yeah.
Rocking in there at 7 a.m.
Well, back in the day, what were there? 3 TV shows?
That's it.
Stations.
3 stations.
That was it.
Yeah, 8, 10, and 13, and you had
And the fuzzy
UHF.
one.
Well,
Yeah, you had UHF.
You had one before then. You had 38 was the first
38
one.
was the first one, right? 38, and then WSUN, I believe
Right,
it was.
that's correct.
And then 44 came later, and that's it.
Did that come from the pier? I don't remember.
It was definitely on the St.
It
Pete
was
side.
a pier one time, but it was also where the
Gandy
towers
area?
were around Gandy Bridge.
Right.
Yes, right.
Yes.
Where
okay.
10, where WLCY eventually was.
Yes.
Channel 10.
Okay.
Boy, you have to be a Tampa native to know that stuff. So, quick question. Let's take a poll here. We'll go around the table. Did you learn to roller skate when you were a kid?
No. That was
Rock?
horrible.
Yeah, but I could never roller skate backwards.
Backwards, was it?
That's where I met Blair Mooney, by the way. It was at a roller rink.
You two
At
roller skating?
At JM Fields.
Was it the one on Gandy?
No,
The outside roller?
JM Fields next to Floorland Mall, which
I
is
remember it.
on,
Okay. Yep.
what became Bush Boulevard and Florida Avenue.
Bullard Park. And of course, I never was a great skater. It was always cautionary tales, and I was always worried about, and I could never turn properly. You know how you turn proper? I was doing. I was
Yeah,
this
I
kind
could
of
do
a
that.
turn guy. Nah.
I could skate forward like
No
a
problem?
champion. Oh yeah, backwards I couldn't do
But
it.
the guys that skated backwards were the guys that always had the cool going.
Let me
I
tell you
could
what,
They
yeah.
could get the
Blair
chicks
could do
because
it.
yeah.
Ben Cesario, Benji.
Yeah.
He could go sideways.
Yeah,
sideways
right.
up
Well, his
walls.
family owned the
he
roller
did
Well,
everything.
because he owned the roller skating rink.
No,
So
it
he,
was his son, yeah.
Yeah, he cut his teeth. He cut his teeth.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Makes sense. If your daddy owned the batting cages and you couldn't hit a baseball,
Right, forget it.
Problems. All right,
That
let's,
is St. Francis, who called his own father called him a sissy.
St. Francis Assisi. Damn it, where's my bell?
Hello.
St. Francis Assisi. All right, so we're off and running. At 7:15, we're not ready for your calls yet, but we will be in just a few minutes. Can we touch on the music industry lost I guess we could refer to him as a giant recently. I mean, as recently as 2 days ago, right? Today's the 22nd.
We're losing too many.
And he was only 74, which by today's standards is really, really kind of young. But for those of us that graduated high school anywhere between 60 Ba 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 Boom and the 80s, you have to remember the band Three Dog Night that burst onto the scene in the late 60s and really throughout the 70s, the early 70s, middle 70s, and up until the late 70s, had a string of hits, much like you'd remember Little River Band having a tremendous string of hits, or Firefall having a tremendous string of hits, or if you want to go back a decade before, Dionne Warwick with Burt Bacharach and Hal David. You know, I think for me personally, and we're going to get to the two music authorities here in a second, but for me personally, Three Dog Night was one of those groups that had that sound that defined 70s rock and roll for me, because that was kind of the preeminent sound of its time. I mean, I remember being 12 years old and listening to Mama Told Me Not to Come the first time, which, oh, by the way, the gentleman that I'm speaking of who passed away 2 days ago was Corey Wells. Three Dog Night had three lead singers, which was very unique for any band at that time, and all three were wonderful vocalists. And they shared the stage, and you know their playlist by heart, especially if you're of a certain age, and if not, look up Three Dog Night. So let's get into...
Do you know what that name meant?
So let's get... Yes, I know what a Three Dog Night is, and I'll ask Rock. Rock, do you know what a Three Dog Night is?
Of course.
Okay, so then we don't have to tell anybody then, because we know.
What if
I'll
they
tell
don't
you
know?
a quick story.
All right, so let's bring up the three shot, because we want to talk. I want to drill down a little bit further on that. I've got something online that was sent to us, or that was posted today by Robert Floyd. I may read that in just a second, time permitting, but please tell us your story.
Well, I was just going to say that one time I was watching Three Dog Night on television, and my wife says, "Who is that?" I said, "That's Three Dog Night." She says, "Oh, Three Dog is cute." The son of Mr. and Mrs. Knight.
Mr. Knight, Three Dog. And his brother's One Dog and Two Dog. Tell them what a Three Dog Night is.
It's in Alaska is what I heard. Now, I may be wrong.
Probably any
Australia.
cold...
Any cold place.
Yeah, Siberia.
Cold enough that you have to put three dogs around you. It's that cold. It's
To stay warm.
Three Dog Night.
Yeah. The people that lived out in the...
You guys hung on for that answer.
In the range, yeah, the people that lived out in the range in the, you know, open spaces, and I guess you could say probably cowboys too. You know, the guys that drove you know, anybody that slept outside that needed the warmth. If it was a cold, cold night, you had your dogs, right? Think of the guys. Think of the guys that do that.
Cowboy night. With a night you're really worried
That's a
about.
Brokeback Night, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh.
Give myself a bell ring on that.
You know what? They may have been the first band to have a theme for a name, like the new bands today.
Right.
Because everybody at that time had the Hollies, the Beatles,
The Animals,
Grand
the
Funk,
Kinks.
Three Dog Night. They were the first band to have a theme name.
Three Dog Night, and
Oh, I see. Three
what I mean?
guys.
coincidentally, the three lead singers.
And like the Four Seasons might have had something to do with that.
Wow.
Too, I think. Four freshmen.
You're going back a minute there.
I wasn't around at that
the
time.
50s.
Way before my time.
Well, you know,
No, Robin and I, we like to act like we're interested in what the other guy says.
you're just waiting to throw it in.
I'm ready
For him
for
to
this.
draw a breath so you
Robin
can-
gives this a look like, which means I'm trying to act like I'm interested in what he's saying. He's
so
not
much.
interested in anything I say.
Not so much. Let me ask you both this, because you're the definitive on this panel anyway. The guys that we need to go to.
We're the
talk-
only ones that's here.
That's
so
what
that's
I'm
all
trying
you
to
got.
say. If you think about the 50s in rock and roll, and let me I digress for just a minute. If I was listening to Three Dog Night and bands of that ilk in the early 70s, can you imagine the night that I bring home, the afternoon that I bring home, because I bought at Golden Triangle, the album, Houses of the Holy by Led Zeppelin, and now I'm going from you know, Shambhala and Jeremiah was a bullfrog
My
to
favorite.
One of
yeah,
my
right?
favorites. I
Right?
still dance
Right?
to that quite a bit.
To down brah, brah, doo-doo-doo, and all of a sudden I'm 15 years old, and Led Zeppelin is like, my father is looking for needle tracks. Okay, my
Right,
father
right.
thinks I've lost it. I mean, like, because, you know, I grew up in a house where the Latin music, and you guys had this experience too, I'm sure, you know, we had Celia Cruz, we had Tito Puente, we had Los Trio de los Panchos, you know, I mean, Vicky Carr, and so we had different kinds of, you know, we went soft, ballad music, and then all of a sudden when the rock burst on the scene, it was a lot of fun.
Well, Three Dog Night was kind of popish, wouldn't you say?
It was
They
pop.
They
It
were
was-
pop rock.
Classic rock hits, right? No
Yeah.
doubt. Yeah, they were great. I
Yeah.
love Three Dog Night. Great harmonies. The one that really did it for me was I. What's the name of that song?
Right. Was that clapping? Ah,
Right,
yeah.
right. You know, what's the name of that song?
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
No, it is-
That's Liar.
No.
I say,
Right.
Yeah. We don't know.
Hey, if you know the title of that song, or if you have that playing on the radio, bring it in to us. We're going to take your calls in just a couple of minutes. We're talking to Robin Sibuka and Rodney Justo, if you're just joining us, and we're going over a little bit of music history. We're talking about Corey Wells, his passing this week, 2 days ago. Three Dog Night, the impact they had on music, certainly the music industry in the early 70s. But man, if you go back to the 50s, I got some rock and roll, icons here: Chuck Berry, Elvis Presley, Bill Haley and the Comets, Little Richard, The Killer, Jerry Lee Lewis. Those were kind of definitive sounds of the 50s rock. Now that's just one genre, because we could talk also about R&B, and I had 60s here, the notes that I had 60s. When you think the 60s, Robin, I'm going to come to you in a second, Rock, and this is good because you guys played, and you were playing at that time. You were already playing at that time professionally. You were just about there. Who were your influences and what music?
60s?
Mm-hmm. What and exempt.
I assume you mean pre-Beatles.
Exempting. I was going to say exempting the British invasion, because that's a whole category into itself.
Right.
So.
For me, it was easy. It used to be the Ozzie and Harriet show.
Wow.
And at the end of the Ozzie and Harriet show every week, they would let Ricky play.
Ricky, sure.
And so Ricky would play. He had a great guitar player by the name of Jimmy Burton, right?
James Burton,
James
right.
Burton, who later went on to play with Elvis. And I used to watch that part of the segment of the show, and then I'd run to my bedroom and get my guitar and try to remember what he did. So that was one of the first ones. But if you remember, before the Beatles, if you look at the top 40 lists, it was all over the map. You'd have Dean Martin singing a song. You'd have
Nat King Cole.
Nat King Cole.
Yeah.
It wasn't just rock and roll.
Frankie Lane.
Pat Boone was in there too in
Yes,
the 60s
yes.
and late 50s.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those were just the guys.
It was
the
all
girls
over
were
the
there
place.
too. Patsy Cline. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
You had it ran the gamut. And how about for you, Rock?
I think probably the obvious, is Elvis first, Buddy Holly. Didn't like Pat Boone. He was like too clean for
Sure,
me,
the
But
white
I
shoes
love the
and the
R&B
white-
groups. I love Bobby Blue Bland.
Oh, man.
A lot of singers tore their throats up trying to
Trying to
sing
get
like
there,
Bobby
trying to
Blue
get
Bland. I love Ray Charles, the early Ray Charles. If right now someone says you have to listen to music 1 hour left in your life,
You're gonna go with Ray?
I got to flip a coin. It's either going to be Beatles music or early Ray Charles music, and I'll just have to say, okay, my hour's up. But it's one of those two, no doubt.
That's a great way to
I
put
also
it.
forgot Leslie Gore.
What a playlist. Well, and you don't own me.
Do you ever realize that every one of her hit songs had the word cry in it?
Yeah.
Think about
Judy's
it.
turn to cry.
Like, you don't own me.
He picks
Yeah,
the
but
one.
did I miss
he
something
picks
here?
the one.
I'm sorry.
He just said you don't own me. Every song has the word cry in it.
Judy's turn to cry.
Truth of the matter is, we
I'll
just
cry
lost
at the-
her, I
I'll
believe,
cry.
last year
It's my
too.
party,
She
and I'll
passed
cry
last
if
year.
I
Yeah,
want
I
to.
want to cry if I want to.
I'll work with
You would cry too if it happened to you.
Da, 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 da.
Bum, 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 bum. Okay, we're good.
Who arranged it? Quincy Jones.
Lone
The
Ranger.
Q?
Quincy Jones.
Oh, wow. Well, that's another one we can talk about, because what I wanted to read, what Robert Floyd wrote to us, and I'll quickly go to the close. Robert, thank you for posting this today. Again, about Corey Wells. He says, let me pick it up here. He says, band members took turns singing lead vocals, with Wells singing featured on Shambhala, Never Been to Spain, great song, and their #1 hit, Mama Told Me Not to Come, which started, how did it start, Rock? Want some whiskey in your water,
Right. It's just-
sugar in your tea.
Sang like Walter Brennan.
What's all these
That's
What's all these crazy questions you're asking me?
It's funny how you threw your voice into Mario just then, too.
Then he goes on to say, Randy Newman wrote Mama Told Me Not to Come, and Corey Wells said that Randy Newman called him once and said, I want to thank you for putting my kids through college. So Randy Newman, as most of us will remember, had a tremendous string of hits. One of those guys that just had a knack for writing hit music. I mean, Barry Manilow wrote a lot and sang a lot. I mean, he started with the jingles, but then Neil Sedaka is another one that comes to mind. Guys, anybody?
Barry Mann, Cynthia Weil, Neil Sedaka, Howard Greenfield, Carole King and Jerry Goffin.
Yes.
Thank you. I forgot those two. They were
But-
huge. Who was the other one that wrote with Burt Bacharach? Carol Sanger
Carol
Bear?
Bayer Sager was
Yeah.
his
Bale
wife.
Sager.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
She also wrote with him, correct?
Yeah.
In the
Yes.
later years.
Yes.
Hal David at first. Go ahead.
Rodney made a good point about that. He also wrote the lyrics.
Right.
And
Oh,
the
no, he
music.
wrote the music and
and
the
the
lyrics,
lyrics.
which is
Not many do that.
There
yeah.
you go.
Like
Billy
Burt
Joel.
Bacharach was great, but he
There's
didn't
a
write
super.
the lyrics.
There's a
right?
super talent.
Yeah.
Billy Joel does do both.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's special, man. Because now you got complete control of your content
Well, it's not just doing it; it's doing it well, like they do it. I mean,
and sustained.
it's like I say, man, I wrote songs for the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Elvis. They didn't cut any of them, but I wrote them.
You knew continue to know B.J. Thomas very well.
Yeah.
And B.J. was another one of my heroes in the late 60s, early 70s. I just loved his voice.
Great singer, spoke with him last week.
I loved his voice. And, and I've told you guys both the stories before. When we moved to Texas, Rock, the first apartment we lived in.
Right.
All I knew is that there was a nice lady who lived underneath us in the apartment below us with her daughter and her son, her grandson, and her name was Mrs. Thomas. And that's all we knew. Her name was Miss, and she was so sweet. We'd come home all the time, and she'd be like, "Hi, how are you?" And, "Oh, Mrs. Thomas, how are you? Having a nice day?" And then one day I come home from work, one of my flights, right? I come in, and I'm getting out of my car, and this big black limo pulls in, man, and parks like next to my car. And I look over at the guy getting out of the car, and it's B.J. Thomas, man. This is 1984. B.J.'s still right there, 1984, 1985. And I look over and it's B.J. Thomas, and I said, "Wait a minute." And the light bulb went on, the bombillo got real bright, and I said, "Mrs. Thomas, that's B.J.'s mom." And of course I had to say, "Listen, I'm not going to sing your playlist for you because you know it better than I do. But Raindrops was one of the first songs I sang in sixth grade at the talent show,
He
and
had
it was
a
amazing."
ridiculous amount of hits.
Yes, he did.
I mean, he had a tremendous amount of hits. He still sings
Did
great.
he write his own songs?
No.
Okay, so he was a singer. He was in the truest sense of the word.
Yeah.
Okay. People would write songs for him because he had that kind of presence and voice, right?
Right.
That's pretty good. When you
Well,
have
his
to
first
command
hit
that.
was a Hank Williams song. He cut it. It wasn't even meant to be the record. The other side was meant to be the single. He cut it as a favor to his father, who said, "Will you please cut a Hank Williams song for me?"
Because BJ's roots were in that southern.
Right. But BJ is also, believe it or not, an R&B singer. He had an R&B band, much like I did.
It's very soulful. I mean, his
Yeah.
music was very, very
And
soulful.
he later did a lot of contemporary Christian music.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Right?
sir. Yes, sir. In the 90s, and when he had kind of his, because I think he went through a tough time, and it's chronicled. So we're not telling tales out of school here.
No, I was there.
Yeah, and I bet you were, Rock, because
Yeah,
you're a
yeah,
dear
yeah.
friend of his. You know that song, "Mama, Mama."
Loved it. That's the
Yeah.
first song that really made me know this guy's a real singer when I heard him sing Mama.
Yeah. So B.J. Thomas, if you're out there watching, and we know you are, we love you. Come do the show. Rocky's not watching. But tell him about it. Next time you call, we'll put this show on the website. So maybe will watch it. Look, we're only 26 minutes into the show. Maybe he can speed the little.
Yeah, right.
BJ, come to Tampa, man. We'd love to meet with you. So we got a call. We had a caller. I guess we could. Yeah, we're 30 minutes. We're at the bottom of the hour. So look, we should open up the phone lines now. Let's go ahead and load the phone lines. We've got 2 lines, and I want to remind everybody, there's the number. Rock, tell them the number.
I think it's 977-6800.
That's
isn't
correct.
it?
I believe so.
Robin,
Eight-
off of memory here.
Repeat that number for me.
I believe that is 977-7643. No. 977-6800. 813 area code.
Now listen,
because
you don't-
some people do live in St. Pete to watch the show.
727. You don't have to dial 1. You don't have to dial 0. And I want to make this clear for everybody that watches us all the time and always tries to call. And when you get a busy signal, because we've only got 2 lines, and you hear the operator of that recording, the hideous recording, saying, "You must first dial 1 or dial 0 to complete your call," it's really not true. It's just that we're dealing with 1980s technology, and they don't have the recording, Rock, that says
They spent all the money on the set.
all lines are busy, right? All lines are busy. Please try your call again. It just means that both lines are busy. So when
you're actually calling them liars.
I am.
Okay.
I am. And when you see
We'll
me
get that
dispatch
clear.
a call, when you see me about to say, "Thanks for calling," and get ready to hang up, maybe that's when you should pick up your phone and call. Let me talk a little bit about, I've got a question here for you. Aside from the Arena Twins, because you told us they were your early influence, they were your early influences when you were a kid. As you got older, was there somebody that you wanted to either emulate or go, "Wow, man, that's a style that is hot," and
I've said
I
it
wish
a
I
million times. My boyhood idol was Artie Alvarez, who sang with the Rockers.
You have told
I've
us that
said it a
before.
million times.
Who's still singing? Who's still singing?
He
today?
doesn't sing with them. Or he hasn't that I know of. I would certainly go see them if he did. But
So he's
I'm a
not
big
with the
fan.
current version of the
No,
Rockers?
no, he
Okay,
hasn't
beg your
been with
pardon.
them since they ever came back together. But I looked up to Artie and as a person as much as a singer,
An artist, a singer.
Yeah, he's great.
Robin, I'm gonna bring the question around to you and phrase it this way: since Rock is a vocalist first, and a right?
Yes.
That's fair to say.
Well, he's
Fair to
definitely
say?
a vocalist over being a guitarist.
Fair
Yeah.
to say for those of us that
I play as good as Elvis.
for those
He
of us
does.
right for those of
He
us that have
holds
been
the
to the
guitar
show
as good as
for
Elvis
those of us that
taught.
have been to the show
And a good
but
guitar,
but
too.
you are guitarist extraordinaire, and I think the people that know you professionally know that you got the chops. Papa, who was your early influences?
You're talking about locally?
That's great. You can give it to us both. Give us locally, and then expand that out to maybe somebody out there.
When I was very small, like really small, I used to go watch Rodney at the Clearwater Star Spectacular. I was so young.
How young were you?
I was so young. They wouldn't let me in because I was like really little.
Yeah.
I used to go
You
watch
were a
the-
spaninino.
Yeah, I was really little.
Spaninino.
But in high school, we used to all hang out. There was a hangout we used to do. Remember, we used to hang out at Johnny Biles Music.
Yep.
I was a sophomore and junior in high school. Who were you with at that time? Were the Candyman then?
Candyman, yeah.
We used to hang out every day. Every day in the afternoon, we go to this music store and hang out. We got to know each other. That's when we got to know each other well. And I used to watch these guys play. I said, one of these days, I'm going to learn how to play and maybe get in a band, real band. Wow. And so Rodney and his bands at that time, there was Chuck Boris that was around town that was a great guitar player.
Was that the Chuck Boris Trio time?
Yeah.
Chuck Boris Trio?
Oh, way before that.
Even before that?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
way before that.
Oh, yeah.
Way before that. Charlie Insonosa was another guitar player that I thought was great around town. There was a lot of really good. Sam Trainer was another good guitar player. There was really a lot of really good guitar players.
Mike
that came
Panera.
around. Mike Panera.
Wow.
When he had Blues
Yeah.
Image. That was
Yeah.
a great band. One of the best bands I think that came out of Tampa.
I agree.
I was sorry to see
I was
that
going to get
band
to
ever
that
break
question
up.
on my list. I'm glad you brought it
Yeah,
up.
sorry to see that band ever break up because that was a good band.
Joe Lala was involved in that.
Yes.
The late, great Joe Lala, sure.
And Manuel Bertomatti was a great drummer.
There you go.
That was a great drummer. So yeah, locally that was the scene for me as I was growing up. And when I was coming up as a musician, we didn't play the same rooms that you guys had played, right? I was playing recreation centers as a kid. Mm-hmm. And by the time I got out of recreation centers, and I left Tampa, right? But
Right.
I didn't get a chance to play those kind of rooms because I was too little.
Literally.
I was too
Figuratively and literally, because you were young.
I did
and you
play,
were
I did
small.
play the Surfers Club a few times when
There
I
you
was
go.
12 and 13.
It's a funny thing. We talk about Bio's music. It's like AC or BC and
NAD,
right.
BC,
there's bio days and before bio days.
Right.
You know what I mean? There was a time in our life that we said, well, way back in the bio days, and then we were all hanging on the store. And then there's life after that, and there was life before that.
But you think everybody and their
Game-changing.
mother that was a
BC&AD.
musician was there in the afternoon?
Yeah.
I mean, every day they were there.
Those were the early. That's the bubbling cauldron of a talent that was kind of coming together, making that infusion. You guys were inspiring each other, and everybody trying to be better.
We loved just hanging out
Yeah.
at the music store.
And
musician
creating,
come
and
in,
creating.
talk. It was a small place. I mean,
Yeah.
how small? Well, the audience can't see, but there's a big plate glass window. That's about how wide the building was. It was deep, but it was,
Not even, if you figure a 10 by 10 is 100 square feet,
Yeah.
It's going to be maybe 20 by 20.
I don't know. This is math.
We've got two callers.
Oh, wait
We've
a
got
minute.
two callers waiting. Let me go ahead and get to. I'm going to go to caller on line 5 first, and we'll come back to line 4 in just a second. Caller, thank you so much for waiting. We're on the air with the Tampa Native Show. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Sandy Ficca. I'm calling from Medford, Oregon.
Hey, Sandy
Hope
Ficca
it's not
from
collect.
Medford, Oregon. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good.
Man, we are so happy to talk to you.
I just wanted to call in because I know you're having a riot with Rockin' Robin and Rockin' Rodney.
Oh man!
Rockathon.
Listen, it's going so fast. We're trying to talk as fast as we can. We can't keep up.
I know, man. I've been there.
You're coming soon to town, we hear.
Yep.
yeah.
December 6th, we're going to be at Ruth Eckert Hall. That's Firefall. And I will be in the studio with you the day before that, on the 5th.
I can't wait, brother. It's going to be great. And who's going to be with you, Sandy?
David Muse, our sax and keyboard player who lives in Clearwater and grew up in the area. And he's doing a new record that is all smooth jazz versions of Firefall songs.
Wow. And for those of you that haven't heard Firefall in a while, you need to get out to watch their show because all of the songs that you remember from your youth, I guess, right? It's safe to say, those love songs and those ballads, they're as good as ever. They hold up. They stand the test of time. And Sandy's back there beating the skins up. And Sandy, we can't wait.
Let me just say there are a lot of good bands out there, but there are not a lot of good acts.
Yes.
And I worked a lot of dates with Firefall. They're great guys, and they're a great act. So you're not going to go there and just be bored to death. Sandy, love you, man. You're coming the 6th of November?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gone. But are you coming in a day early? Did you say that?
You gonna be on the show?
I'm coming in like a week early.
Oh, well, why don't we get together? You buy me lunch.
Let's go out to La Septima, man. We'll go out there and see Ronnie
Oh, right. We
Fernandez.
missed it last time.
Yeah, let's go out there.
Right. Buddy
Please.
Bowie died.
I know it was. It
Right.
was.
Okay.
You had to go to Atlanta.
Right.
Sandy, how is your school doing?
It's doing good. It's not actually a school, but I bring the kids in and we record, and I've got some really talented kids, and maybe I'll even play a song or two on the air down there, and maybe fly some kids out from Tampa that are real talented.
Well, hats
That'll
off
be
to
fun.
you. Hats off to you for doing what you're doing. That is a great thing you're doing out there.
Thank you. Hey, Rodney, I have a quick question. How was your gig at Seven Feathers?
Where?
Seven Feathers? Did you say Seven
Oh,
Feathers?
man, it was fantastic.
Yeah, I wanted to go to that, and we were playing in Nashville that night, so I couldn't make it.
Yeah, man, it's a long ride. I guess you know. He's talking about a place in Oregon.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it was great. Wish you could have been there. We had a great time, a great audience. People treat us great. It couldn't be better.
Cool.
Sandy, I don't know who has more decals on their luggage, man. You or Rock and Rodney, because you guys both are road warriors like nobody's business, man.
It's true.
Well,
And-
I just had to send in my case from SKB, and they replaced it, so now I have a brand new one with no decals. So I
Well,
can start over.
it'll take a minute and you'll get them all back because we follow your travel log on Facebook. I want you to know that. So when you are angst-ridden because you didn't get that first class upgrade, so are we.
I can identify my bag right away, though. I tell you that.
Yeah, you got a
I
big
got scrap
pink
all
pom-pom
over
on
it.
it?
Yeah, all over it.
There you go. Sandy, thanks so much for calling us, man. We look forward to seeing you in studio with us here real soon.
Okay, love you guys, and see you later.
All right,
Love you
man,
too,
see you in a couple
Sandy.
weeks.
Travel safe, bud.
All right, man, thanks.
Hey, Sandy,
Yeah,
give us your Lucky Bolita number, man. Before you go, you might win a goody-goody T-shirt.
just one number,
Well, between 1 and 75.
32.
32? Did you say 32?
I don't know what he said.
Sandy, say it again.
32.
You got it.
You
Thanks,
bet.
Sandy.
Okay.
Talk to you soon, baby. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
32. 32. Wasn't that Jim Brown?
Sure
that was Sandy.
No, it was Sandy. That was Sandy Flicker.
They look a lot alike, but it's
One's taller and one's not so tall. All right, we've got a line open, so give us a call if you want in on that goody-goody T-shirt. Caller, thank you so much for being patient with us. You're on the air with the Tampa Native Show. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Richard Medulla from Tampa.
Hey, Richard Medulla from Tampa. How are you, bud?
How you doing, Mario?
Man, it's great to hear you. I can almost see you. I know what you look like.
Have them arrested.
How you doing? How y'all
doing-
doing over there?
We're doing great, man. Are you watching us or just listening to us, or how's it working out for
And
you?
I'm watching. You know how much I love the show.
Thank you.
And how much I love Cuckoo Cachoo.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I just wanted to call and say a couple things. Number one, I go all over Tampa listening to Rodney and the group because I love their music and I love Robin's guitar. It's like out of sight.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank
it is.
you.
If
Thank
it's
you.
any better, Eric Clapton and Keith Richards and all these guys would have to hide.
Oh,
How good he is.
thank you. Very kind of you.
Well, listen, you were talking about Three Dog Night.
Yes.
You guys remember back in the late 60s and early 70s, we all made these party tapes on our reel-to-reels.
Yes.
And who did not have Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog on their dance tape?
Was a good friend of mine.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, nice seeing all of you, and I'm going to come out and see Rodney and Cuckoo Cachoo at the next show.
Thanks, Richard. Look forward to seeing you, man.
All righty.
Thank you, Richard. Give
Thank
us your
you.
Lucky Bolita number, brother.
47.
47. Wow, he picked Boulevard. All right.
Mike.
Thank you, Richard. We'll see you soon. See you next Friday at Buckets.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
See you then, Papa. Bye-bye.
Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog. Was
Was
that
it?
written by Hoyt Axton? Who wrote
It was.
that song?
That's
Right?
exactly right.
Wow.
That's right.
There's some serious trivia for you, going
Right.
deep right
His
there.
mother wrote Heartbreak Hotel.
Really?
Yeah.
Elvis's tune?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Because there was another Heartbreak Hotel, I think Michael Jackson recorded something in the 90s or in the early 2000s. Yeah, no. We'll get to that in just a minute. Let me also throw in I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss that. While Richard mentioned Eric Clapton,
Yes.
and the great Keith Richards, I want to throw in another great guitar player who's no longer with us, who I think is right there, and he was one of their contemporaries, George Harrison, man. He was a pretty solid guitar player, too.
George Harrison was an interesting guitar player because he started out an okay guitar player with the Beatles, and then he turned into an interesting guitar player.
Would you say, did he ever?
Parts. He
Yes.
was great at playing parts and creating things that were good on record, but he couldn't compete, in my opinion, with the big guys.
Okay.
Yeah, you wouldn't put him next to Clapton or Jeff Beck and say, you guys rock.
Okay.
Right.
Well,
But
I'm
you had
learning. I'm
Hendrix
learning.
or,
Yeah.
Well, and Hendrix
Jimmy
played
Page
left-handed
or
and
anything.
backwards. Come on.
Yeah, he couldn't afford the right guitar.
Unbelievable. We lost him to 26 years
26
old.
or 27, right?
I think him, Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin were all the same age, and as was Amy Winehouse. 27, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm glad I passed that age.
27. Wow, it must have been a tripwire there somewhere at 27. All right, so we've got another caller. We're going to keep these callers coming hot and heavy. So I kind of misspoke with George Harrison.
Did you put his number down for me?
No.
Well, I want to get this straight,
He's not
though.
a blazing guitar player.
Right.
He wasn't that type of
Because
guitar
I'm thinking
player.
when my guitar gently weeps, and I'm thinking, okay, I got that.
Yeah, well,
And
that's
he-
Eric
That's
Clapton.
Eric Clapton playing that part.
I stand correct. Line 4.
That's why it sounded so good.
Caller, you're on the air with the Tampa Native Show. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. Caller, you're on the air with the Tampa Native Show. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Mahalo, it's David Benito calling from beautiful Davis Island.
Hey, Davian Benito from beautiful Davis Island. What's going on with you, man?
Told you I would set a reminder to watch. So, yeah, I feel like I'm getting a lesson in rock history here.
You got two rock legends right here.
You know, I was born in '66, but for some years I shared a room with my older brother, and he got some great music: Alice Cooper, Led Zeppelin, Three Dog Night, and you know, when I started getting into music, and you know, in the early '80s, you know, I was big Billy Joel, Elton John, you know, John Mellencamp, and you know,
The Boss.
and now the music scene has changed. Now it seems to, for some artists, it seems to be more about the performance and the show than rather than music, like kind of like Lady Gaga kind of thing. It seems the music is almost secondary sometimes.
Can I also add to that, Davian? It's almost like, guys, bear with me, professional wrestling. Professional wrestling. Before, it was the wrestling. Now it's the pyrotechnics firing out of the turnbuckles. You see what I'm saying? So it's the show rather than the technicians in the ring, when before it was the technicians playing the instruments rather than the fiber optic. Am I making sense?
Yeah, well,
I went several years ago when he was on tour for The Rising. I went to go see Springsteen at the what's now Emily.
Sure.
And you know, all those have the video screen, the pyro, the 20 dancers on the floor, on the stage. All he did, the lights went out. He just walks out on stage and starts playing.
There you go. Because he's old school, man. He's old school. You know, he's been at it for a minute.
Something happened, and you're hitting the point here. Something happened in the, I would say probably 80s, where entertainment got confused with music. And it became okay to pantomime. People were pantomiming their hits. They really weren't singing because they were dancing. You can't dance and sing
yeah.
the way that. And somewhere along that time, it started getting confused. Now look, don't get me wrong. There's some great music out there right now. It's just not as easy to find as when we were kids, because there was only a couple radio stations. You could go to a record store and find it. Nowadays, you got to search for it.
you got to look.
You got to look. You got to look. But it's out there, so I'm not knocking, the new artists that are coming out. But I'm with you on the entertainment thing. To some point, it's gotten a little crazy.
I watch shows, Robin, and I say, are they singers or are they dancers? I can't figure which one they are sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
And you can't serve two masters in a lot of cases. Hey, give us your lucky bulletin number, Davian.
All right, 48 I'm going to go with.
48. Thank you so much for calling, brother. We appreciate it. We've missed you, but thanks for calling tonight.
All right, guys, thanks a lot.
See you soon.
All right, take it easy.
Bye-bye. Man, oh man, where is that 48? Come on, 48. There it is.
So you actually write the names in next to a number.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is not happenstance. We know what we're doing
That's
here.
pretty damn good.
So I have a question here while we qualify our next caller on the line there. My question was, Robin, real quick, this one's for you. Was there any other choice of another instrument other than guitar, or was guitar the first and only choice
I
for you?
played a little drums at the beginning, but I actually signed up to play accordion.
Wow.
Because at the time I was in school, they actually would send somebody out to school with an accordion.
East Tampa had an accordion?
No,
no way.
you had to go to, I think it was Nebraska Avenue or Florida Avenue to Guida's Music.
Right.
And they had this huge accordion class. Like
Squeeze box.
I thought Guida's on Hillsboro.
No, originally he was over off of, he moved there.
Right, because Dickie went.
Right.
Paragon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'd have these classes with like, I don't know, there'd be 50 or 60 kids and they're squeezing the accordion.
Robert's Music on Florida Avenue is.
Yeah.
North
So I went in
Florida.
and I saw that, right? But then I saw a guitar and I went, man, then I saw, started watching TV and I went, I think that's a little cooler than that, right?
And it was, and it is. And I've got a question for you, Mr. Justo.
Make it a good
Vocalist, yeah, here it comes. Vocalist
Yeah.
from Tampa. Is there one that stands out in your mind, perhaps even one that you said early on had the chops, but maybe didn't get the chance to get there or make it or didn't get a break? You know what I mean? Vocalist.
There was a guy from Clearwater, or St. Pete, I think he was from Clearwater, named Ralph Stewart, who used to sing like Ray Charles.
Oh, man.
And I forget, I made my first record in 1964, and I came back, and it sounded like a revival show, because it was the Mystics, the Angels, and the Righteous Brothers.
Huh.
And I didn't rehearse with them or anything, because I was away, and I came back. My piano player says, man, you got to hear these Righteous Brothers. This one guy sings just like Ralph Stewart. So I'll tell you, there was a guy, Ralph Stewart, that I really liked a lot.
That's a great sound, by the way.
Yeah,
Righteous
yeah.
Brothers.
My old friend Vic Waters was good. He was a great entertainer, a hard worker.
Name of
Played
his
like
band?
90 instruments. One of those kind of guys.
Yeah.
I
Pick up an
thought I was
instrument,
hot, and
anything
he
didn't
showed up
matter.
with a band and said, "Oh yeah, we got this guy from Savannah. He plays 37 instruments." I'm going, what? And he said, yeah, and he sings too. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
You hate those guys because they're never out of the lineup.
He's a good friend.
They're always playing.
He's a good friend. He's a good guy.
Let's go back to the callers because we've got I can't believe it's already as
Well, we got to go hour and a half tonight. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, they'll throw us out of here before that. But you know what? This could be a two-parter. Boys and girls, stay tuned. 5. Caller, you're on the air with the Tampa Native Show. Turn down your TV. Talk to us on the phone. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
This is Bunny Pierce, sparkling downtown Odessa.
Hey, Bunny, are you high and dry yet, or did you get your vehicle pulled out of the mud?
Well, the road's dry, but I can't get the car started.
Poor
So
Bunny. She called us a couple of weeks ago when all that rain was coming
Yeah.
down, and her vehicle got stuck, and apparently it's still there. Hey, Bunny, what do you know about these two fellas, and what can you tell us?
just what I've seen on the program, I'm sort of in a different field from what they do.
Okay.
But I just wanted to point out that Don Banks died this past week.
He did indeed.
That's my
Thank
first set
you.
of drums from
Yes.
Don Banks.
Thank you so much for reminding us, Bunny.
Yeah, he was certainly, very notable in the music industry
Yes.
He worked at Leggett Music
on
Store.
many levels.
Yes, he if you grew up as a Tampa native here, he was certainly preeminent. He might have been the first place you bought your first instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for reminding us,
Yeah,
Bunny.
thanks, Bunny. He was a very, very nice guy.
And a Tampa guy, and one of ours. He was one of ours, pioneer in the industry,
Let
certainly.
me also point out my friend Billy Joe Royal died last week, and I don't want to not say something about Buddy Bowie, who was the force behind the Atlanta Rhythm Section. It was his vision, his song. I'm going tomorrow, by the way. I'm playing there this weekend.
Are you?
I'm going tomorrow to Studio One. They're filming a documentary about Studio One.
Take your
And
hankies,
they
brother.
sold. It's still there it's like in a strip building, I guess. I don't know what to call it. And
Strip center, strip
I
mall.
found out that there's something still in the building. Like they got the stairs and where the control board used to be.
Oh.
So I haven't been there since 1978. So
Wow.
they're filming like
Take your
filming a
handkerchief,
movie,
brother,
yeah.
because there's going to be
No joke,
there's
man.
going to be some leaking eyes there. Bunny, give us your lucky bulletin number.
All right, I'm going to pick 28 this time.
28 for Bunny Pierce. Thank you, hon. We appreciate you calling.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night.
I was going to say Buddy Bowie was the inspiration, the force behind Atlanta Rhythm Section, which drew its talent from Dennis Yost and the Classics 4 and the Candymen. So
That's correct.
He was kind of the man that
He was the visionary.
He was the visionary. Yeah.
He wanted someone to be a vehicle for his songs. He wanted to produce them, manage them. He did everything but massage us, you know. And we really.
And he would have done that if he needed it too.
We drove him crazy. I don't know how he did it as long as he did.
Because he loved you guys, and he knew what he had. He knew the talent that he had available.
God, I don't know how he did it.
Well, I mean, it's almost like to use a sports analogy. We got one more caller. We're going to get you real quick. Like a sports analogy, you got a coach that knows what he's got as far as the talent is concerned, and it's all those different personalities. But he's going to manage them because he knows when he puts them on the field, they're unstoppable.
He tried.
They're a force. Well, all adults here, right? All adults
tried,
there too.
Poor guy.
All right, let's go to our caller on line 4. Caller, thank you for waiting. You're on the air with the Tampa Native Show. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Kim Justo.
Oh, my God.
Calling from Tampa.
Hi, Kim Justo. Is this the first time calling the show?
Yeah, it is.
There you go. That's for you, darling. Well, do you know? Are you related to either one of these two men?
Robin's daughter.
It's my
That
daughter.
is my father.
Okay. Well, is there anything you want to tell us? Because it's just us here now. Nobody's listening.
Yeah, well, he's a great dad.
There you go.
The best. He's got funny stories about how he met Paul McCartney, and I've been trying to get him to sing some Beaver Teeth songs because there's a couple I think would be hits. If he don't
Beaver Teeth? Why doesn't he sing a song from Beaver Teeth? That's a great segue.
I don't know. I love the song "Where Does Love Go When It Goes Away."
Yes.
It's one of my favorites. It's a ballad. And
Can we get him to hum a few bars?
Yeah, right.
I don't know about that. I wish. Yeah, and I also thought that people might like to know if there's any advice for future musicians.
The what?
Say that again.
If there's any advice he's got for future.
Oh, okay. Do you have any advice for like upstart musicians
Kim.
just starting out?
You stay in school.
Stay in school. Stay in school and have a second job.
Right. You can't make a living being a musician anymore. If you're lucky, you might make almost as much money as you made 30 years ago.
Wow.
Now, I'm different.
Yeah, no, of course.
Okay, but for the most part, if someone says, "Hey, my son could sure play that guitar," I say, "Good. Tell him to read it. Hide your guitar in a book."
There you go. Yeah, and as a baseball coach, I used to tell parents the same thing with your son is not going to be the second coming of Barry Bonds. So just be mindful that have a second option. Kim, thank you so much for calling.
All right. Thank you.
Love you, baby.
We do. Can we get your lucky drawing number between 1 and 75?
27.
27 it is. Thank you, hon.
I'll make sure you win, Kim.
27.
You
for Kim
said
Justo.
something, Mario, that's important. Professional musicians and rock stars are a lot alike, and that they start very early in their career. They get a lot of dough. They're popular no matter where they go. And then what happens when it's when you're 37, it's time to go to the next part of the career, right? And it happens. So always be ready for when the blinker comes on for those musicians out there.
Right.
Yeah.
And they can't say paper or plastic. They think they're still big.
Rock
It's
stars.
sad.
Rock stars.
Yeah.
We're going to go to our last caller. That's great advice. And
No,
that
you
has applications across the board. But being a musician is like being an aspiring athlete. Or an actor. Or an actor. But just be mindful that that's a tough road to hoe.
It's like being a salesman. You better learn how to hear the word no.
Caller, thank you so much for waiting. You're our last caller of the night. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. We've got about 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's Ronnie Lambert from Massachusetts.
Ronnie Lambert from Tewksbury,
Ronnie Lambert.
Massachusetts.
Is this your first time calling the show, Ronnie?
What's that?
Is this your first time calling the show?
Yep, I made.
That's just for you,
just
buddy.
figure out how to work a phone.
Hey, Ronnie, what do you need to tell us tonight about these fellas here you're looking at?
I just want to tell you something. First of all, they are phenomenal athletes. I don't know if you know this or not. I'm afraid I missed it. I didn't die because you got to get a obituary show going tonight. But they are phenomenal golfers. I tell you what, even though they dress like Johnny Cash tonight, both of them.
The Men in Black. The Men in Black.
They are unbelievable, I tell you. But I just got to say this. I'm going to get down there and see them in a couple of weeks. And please go see Cuckoo too, because they are a phenomenal band. And let me tell you something. These guys are the nicest guys, as talented as they are and the history they have. Welcome me into their home. Tremendous guys, very, very Is that enough, guys? Can I get some money for that?
Yes, checks in the mail. Ronnie, give us your lucky drawing. Give us your lucky drawing number between 1 and 75, Ronnie.
58.
Wait, don't hang up, Ronnie, because we're very proud of you of putting that whole sentence together.
Thank you, Robbie.
and calling all the way down here to Tampa, okay? That was very kind of you.
Collecting, Rodney, get the tip, so.
Thank you, Ronnie. We'll see you soon.
Okay, babe.
Bye-bye. Oh, yeah, before we get off the air, please tell us a little bit about Big Noise Institute. We haven't touched on Big Noise. Tell our fans. Look into camera number 4 here.
Number 4.
Tell our fans about Big Noise.
Is
not on.
Here's coming.
This is over here.
Give us Robin's single. Here we go.
Okay, now where am I? Where am I? I'm over here.
Acá. Robin solo shot.
There I am. Big Noise Institute's in St. Petersburg. It's the place to go if you're interested in a career in professional audio. What does that mean? Front of house for concerts, recording, maybe your house of worship, you run sound. Any place that audio is important, film. And it's right here in the Tampa Bay area.
There you go.
It's in downtown St. Pete.
Do you have a Facebook page?
We do. Big Noise Institute. And also our website's bignoiseinstitute.org.
All right, let's bring us up in the 3-shot. We will have a link on our website to Big Noise as well. We got less than a minute to go. We have drawn a number exactly on the button. Oh my goodness. Davian Benito with number 48. Rock, is that 48? Robin, is that 48? Rock,
it's either that or 86.
That's 48. Let me remind everybody that next week coming up on the show is Michelle Cookson and Matt Suarez. We're going to be talking about TBX and all the bad things that represents to the Tampa area, because TBX is the expansion of the highway. They're going to take more of our historical buildings.
Yeah, right.
Raise those glasses, guys. On behalf of everybody that puts this show together, thank you, Robin, for being here. Thank you so much, Rock.
Thank you,
We
Mario.
love you. Salud and happy days. We love you, Tampa.
Yes, we do.
Yes,
See you
we
next
do.
week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you,
baby.
Back when we were younger and everything seemed new, we used to have a lot of fun, yes we did, no matter what we do. Sleepy days, long summer nights, going anywhere we please, with love that I could call my own, love that I've always known, the city that I call my home, a home from which I never roam. This love affair was meant to be. I love her and she loves me. I remember Tampa, oh, she remembers me. She remembers me. I remember, yeah, yes I do. Oh, I remember, yeah, me and you. I'm a Tampa native, Tampa native, can't you see? I will share my story with you to preserve its history.
All right now, don't forget, Thursdays, 7 p.m. on TBCN, home of the Tampa Native Show.
And just because you think you had enough, here we are again to say goodnight one more time. We thought that we ended that a little bit quick, and surely we did. So, Rock, closing quick last words.
Good night.
There you go, Robin.
Night-night.
Thank you, everybody, for being here with us. We
Another
surely
brilliant
appreciate
statement.
all of our fans and our sponsors. And these guys are the best. And Ronnie, up there in Tewksbury, he was absolutely right.
Oh, brilliant.
Not only are they talented, but they're really fun and great people to be hanging around. So come see us next Friday. Thank you. Next Friday, wear your Halloween costume
Next
or
Friday,
not.
where?
At Buckets Tavern and...
Taps.
Grill.
Tap. That's right. Tap and Tavern. Buckets Tap and Tavern. Right there on Gun Highway.
Gun
It is.
Highway.
Gun Highway in the heart of Citrus
Carrollwood.
Park. The Carrollwood Citrus Park area. All right, so come see us again. Thanks, guys. Salute and happy days one more
Ta-da.
time. We love you.
Yes, we do.
We'll see you soon. Bye, everybody. This time it's for real. Promise.